All right, everybody, a day late, but never a dollar short. We're back here, Sports Talk Nation. Jets taking care of business on Sunday, 30-6. Yes, I know I usually do these on Sunday, but I want to sit back. I want to relax. I want to watch the other games. You had the Chiefs and the Bills as the Chiefs screwed themselves because, hey, look, when you bring in a former New York Giants receiver named Kadarius Toney, you know you're going to pay for it. As he, of course, was caught with his foot on the line of scrimmage, and that cost the Chiefs the ball game. Hey, that's just the way it rolls, right, to Kansas City? So what are we going to talk about today, folks? Obviously, Zach Wilson with the best game of his career ever. And this is what, look, I'm not going to take anything away from him. He was fantastic. We're going to dive into some of the plays in just a moment. But this is what's got to drive you crazy about the New York Jets. It really does. It drives me crazy. I enjoyed watching that game. It was fun to watch. It was nice to see the offense get on a roll. It was nice to see the smiles on the sideline. It was nice to see Breece Hall get involved again and, start to look healthy and look like the running back we know he can be. Same thing with Garrett Wilson at wide receiver. And it was great to see Zach Wilson flinging the ball around like it's preseason. It was just great to see him flinging the ball around, period. But this is what drives you crazy because it makes me sad, too. It makes you happy, it makes you sad. That's what life is like being a Jet fan. It makes you sad because you sit there wondering, where the hell was this all this time? Where? Three years, we sat here wondering when this guy was going to turn it on. 3 years, we sat here wondering when the Jets coaches were going to take the Huggies off, if you will, take the handcuffs off. When were they going to do that and let this guy play? And when was he going to just let it rip? It took a controversy. It took a huge controversy over his desire or lack of desire to play or not play in order to make that happen, and all the craziness that happened last week with Robert Saleh stumbling and bumbling and fumbling all over himself in press conferences and in interviews. It took Aaron Rodgers to go on the Pat McAfee show and blame the media and then blame whoever the leaker was inside the Jets, and we still don't know who that leaker was. Someone needs to get someone call Woodward and Bernstein, please. Someone, we got to find out. It took all this just to set up this moment for Zach Wilson because that's what's so frustrating because you see the talent, you see the arm talent, you know that if he just gets his head right and the coaches show a little more faith that there's a chance that the kid has potential. But now we're sitting here in a situation where he has this great game and you're saying, okay, well now what? That's it, now what? You're 5-8. There's no playoffs, and you have this other story that breaks on Sunday or late Saturday that out of a Utah-based newspaper called The Desert, and I know some Jet fans want to run around saying fake news. It's not real. I have no idea if it's real or not real, but the fact is this story was made that's way around, and even some Jet reporters have been quoting it as well, that the Jets and Zach Wilson have agreed or will agree to mutually part ways at some point this offseason and that Wilson will be traded. So whether Wilson, take that for what it is. Let's just take it for what it is as a rumor at the moment. If that is indeed is true, and then you have the other athletic story, why did all this have to happen just to have this moment? Why? Why do we have to go this tortured route? Zach Wilson playing with nothing to lose. He was quoted as much by Rich Cimini. Teammates were quoted by Rich Cimini of ESPN that he was playing with nothing to lose. Robert Saleh is telling him that he wanted him to let it rip, which he probably should have told him to do a long time ago. And he played the game of his life. Whether he is going to stay with the Jets beyond this year or it's part of him trying to make a statement to the Jets coaches or trying to make a statement to the rest of the league that's saying, hey, look, here I am, come and get me in the offseason. He certainly made that statement. So let's just take a look at a couple of plays here. One such play is one where it's more akin to what we saw from him in college at BYU, where he avoids the rush, rolls to his right, and then sets his feet and finds the open man, Garrett Wilson, down the middle of the field. I mean, those are the kind of plays that got him drafted in the first place. You see the arm talent, you see the power in the throw, moving the ball down the field. That's what we had seen from him at that point. But maybe his best throw of the day was here. This was near at the 30-yard line of Houston. He's out of a shotgun, and I believe this is where he does the pump fake, if I'm not mistaken. This is it, yes. Does a nice little pump fake and hits Breece Hall down the sideline at the 15-yard line, and Breece gets a couple more yards to the 10. But just look at this. Just good strength in the hand strength. The pump fake with a slippery ball, getting the ball out to his receiver. Actually, it was to Ruckert, excuse me there. But those are the kind of throws you want to see. And we haven't been seeing a lot of it. And, of course, here finally, the touchdown here, again, out of the shotgun. Breece Hall to his left. Texans don't blitz. Texans defense is just terrible. And here he just finds he finds Randall Cobb, who actually shouldn't have been, he wasn't supposed to be in on the play, supposed to be Garrett Wilson. Finds Randall Cobb for the touchdown. I mean, he just made things look so easy. It was just really, it was a nice performance. It really was. And which is why I say here, critical of both Wilson and of the Jets. Where was this all this time? Where was this? The potential was there all this time. Where was it? It's almost like it's just wasted potential in a lot of ways. It really is wasted opportunity. And who knows whether that story, whether it's real, not real, whether there's any validity to it about a possible trade down the road. We'll have to wait and see. But for at least one game, he had a great game. Does that exonerate him for what has happened the last 2.5 years, which a lot of fans want to go out there and say? Of course not, because he's played horribly. He earned the benching, folks. He did. He played poorly. No, didn't show up at all against the Chargers. Didn't show up at all against the Bills. Had an uneven effort against the Raiders, and there was a lot of problems that went on in that Raider game. Obviously, I don't want to have to rehash it, but still. He played poorly. And it took all of this to make him turn it on for at least one game. There's a reason why the Jets have gone down this road. There's a reason why they've gone down the road of trying to even bring in Aaron Rodgers in here. And speaking of Aaron Rodgers, there is some breaking news regarding Mr. Rodgers, as it is expected that he'll be medically cleared to play on December 24th, Christmas Eve. Aaron Rodgers will most likely make his return to the lineup on Christmas Eve when the Jets play host to the Washington Commanders. So the final 3 games of the regular season, more than likely, we will see Aaron Rodgers. Now, in what capacity, how long will it be for an entire game? Will they treat this like preseason where he comes in for a couple of series and that's it? I'm not sure. The Jets have about, depending on which metric you want to believe, between 0.4% to a 11% chance of getting to the playoffs if they win out and they get a lot of help. And I mean a lot of help. There's about 6 or 7 teams that are in front of them for the last wild card slot. And you have like 7 teams that are 7-6 right now. So if the Jets go down to Miami and take care of business against the Miami Dolphins, who host the Tennessee Titans on Monday Night Football. Dolphins haven't lost at home yet this year, by the way. And if Zach Wilson obviously has to ball out again, we need that to happen in order to set this all up, right? You need to have Zach Wilson play like he did against Houston with his hair on fire in order to give Aaron Rodgers a chance the last 3 weeks of the year to help the Jets to make a potential playoff push. But those last 3 games, whether they have Rodgers or not, those are all winnable games against Cleveland, against Washington, against the Patriots. Yes, against the Patriots. I know, it's hard to say that with the Jets. But we'll see what happens. Do I think they're going to make the playoff push? No. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs? No. Do I want to see them finish the season strong and have something to write home about and to build some momentum going into next year? Abso-positively-lutely. And as far as Zach Wilson is concerned, if he's going to play the rest of the year like this, good. Why? Because then the Jets, if it's true they're going to trade him, can get a little more back for him. And that's the positive right there. That's all you can. That's the positive out of all of this. And if Douglas and Saleh are back next year, get a veteran quarterback a veteran backup quarterback that can back up Aaron Rodgers. God forbid if this should ever happen again or something very similar to it. So leave your thoughts below, folks. How do you feel about Zach Wilson's performance against the Houston Texans? Do you think this is the turnaround for him? Do you think this is the beginning of the end, obviously, in his Jets tenure? Leave your thoughts below. We'll talk to you next time.